Today is going to be very interesting. Hello, everybody. It's going to wait for some people to join in. This is English only um, live. I will talk about what is the great divide between African American and African. It's so important that we need to discuss about this topic, and a lot of people sometimes hesitate, and especially what's going on now. So also something crazy when it comes to online, that a lot of African don't understand what's going on in the United States in details, and vice versa, they don't understand what's going on in Africa. And so, but to me, is the plan of the enemy that he wants us to be divided so we cannot unite and be conquered. And as a global influencer, and I have video in French and English, and I have literally clients in 4 different continents, in more than 47 countries. To me, I believe it was my duty for me to make it happen. Hey, Marie-Céline, it was a duty for me to make it happen and to talk about it. And it's not just going to be just one video. I'm going to keep on doing it. I have some guests that I already lined up. I'm going to keep talking about it. I don't care if it's going to be at night or in the morning, in French and English. I'm going to stay on that topic a little while. I need to make at least 10 videos because I want people really to sink in, but not just to have my opinion, but let somebody else come and add to the conversation. I mean, it's so crucial because, like, until we understand that black is black, regardless of if you're from the island, you're from St. Lucia, Ghana, or Brooklyn, New York, you black. Now, there's different cultural things, that's a certain experience and certain things that you have. But at the core of who you are, you're a black person. And that black person needs to understand that whenever you see somebody who look like you have to figure out a way to how to connect. And if we just, still looking at each other from afar, or he's African, or he's African American, or he's from Jamaica, or I don't understand his accent, I'm not sure where he's from, or I'm not trusting. You cannot trust somebody that you don't have effective communication with. I was just talking to somebody in Florida, and that person can be my guest on one of my podcasts that we do at night. But I really want people to understand that and to really reach the gap, and so we can be united. Do not be confused. Do not think that because you're one or the other, that you have the upper hand over your brothers. Like, don't think that because that person is you're African American, you're better than African, and because you're African, you're better African American. Now, don't we have some people who are crazy? Do we have racist African towards African American? Yes. Do we have African American racist towards African? Yes. Do we have people from the island who think they're better than African or African American? Yes. We have this type of things. But as a leader, and what's going on now in the black community globally, with every craziness happening, still happening in Congo, what's happening with George Floyd here in the United States, and everything happening to put the black people down, we have to rise up and come together and don't feel like we have, or we have the one who suffer the most, or the Africans suffer the most, or the black Americans suffer the most. What about us in the island? We have access to nothing. No, we have to come together, guys. Really, it's not this life, the intent is not to divide, is to put people together so we can have effective communication and understand what's going on, so we can really put ourselves into one community where we can be together, be joined together, and what we can do. And address also one of the misconceptions that you guys have. This is just the first video. I'm not going to be long. It's just to start the conversation. Feel free to send me an inbox or put a comment or whatever that you want to do. You have to learn that we are together. And because we are together, we don't need to be separate. And now, if there's something that you have in your heart and you want to share that, you were mistreated by African American or by African or somebody from Ireland, we have to go beyond that and see what was the origin of that. I don't believe, and I'm sure about it, but you cannot judge your bad experience and put it on the whole population. Because you have a bad experience with an African or a few African, or all African are bad. Or you went to one African country, and for the weeks or the days you were there, it was something bad. No, you have to keep doing it. Hey, Sister Maggie, you have to keep doing it until you keep doing that thing and you keep making sure that you have an effective communication with each other and go beyond. Now, I don't ask you to turn the other cheek and just to be let somebody run over you or curse you out. No, you have to defend yourself. But I'm saying that open yourself, figure out what's going on. I'll give you an example. I remember, hey Danita, I remember a couple that one was from New York, one was from another, African country. Now, that person from New York loved hip hop. I mean, like from Brooklyn, New York, like, you know what I'm saying, like hip hop. And that person didn't even listen to hip hop. And it was a gap of difference of more than 10 years. How in the world you guys gonna be a couple? And not like music is the most important thing, but you guys got nothing in common beside the bed. You got nothing in common beside the bed. So it's not that the American lady was bad or the African guy was bad. They are not compatible. They are not compatible to each other. What type of value do you have with each other to put yourself in a couple where you don't share the same passion about a lot of stuff? So if you don't share the same passion, how in the world do you think you're going to be able to position yourself and to be able to make it happen? Exactly. Black is black. And the problem is, like, I'm saying that because I see a lot of videos now with what's going on where people want to separate. They want to separate, They say like, oh no, I want to separate. No, we are different. No. We are not different. This is the plan of the enemy. We are not different. We are one. I believe, in my opinion, we are the biggest and the strongest people in this world. Because after slavery, after the corruption in Africa and what happened in the island, we're still standing. We're still doing so many things. Hey, Juanita, we're still doing so many things together. We cannot think that we are different. We have to stop that madness. Now, we know who divides us. We know why we people don't want us to be together. So now that we know that, what type of effort we can do to do stuff together, to do business together. I did a live in English, in French yesterday, and I have, way more people. And I was telling them, like, people think like they are telling me, no, Darcy, the African American, they don't like us. I said, like, no, I've been living in the United States for 21 years. Forget what you heard. I don't care what book you read or what YouTube video documentary or whatever. No, you cannot take something that you learn from a book, be above your personal experience. I'm talking about personal experience over and over and over again. It's been 21 years. Hey, Danita. It's been 21 years I've been in this country. I only have one incident with another black person. And I was not even in my house. Somebody would come knock on the door where I was with some friends to try to sell us something. It was too late. And that person got mad because we said, like, hey, man, it's 9 o'clock. I mean, you can get shot and stuff. Why you come that late? The person got upset because, he couldn't sell. So I don't even think that person, if I met him in Walmart in a barbecue, that same person will be as mad as that person was. I don't think so. So we have to make it happen. And again, I just opened a conversation. Okay? I want to do more of that. I have a technology where I can invite somebody on camera. So I don't want to talk too much because I know you have your own experience. But like, if you can bring some ideas, if you are from United States and you're black, if you're from the island or you're from any African country, you speak French or English, I'm open. Let's do a series and we can pre-record the video. I can play live. I have a technology to do whatever he has to do. Let's talk about it. Let's do business together. Let's pray together. Let's exchange music. Let's do things like back in the day when I met my spouse who was American. We met because we are on campus together and we are doing things, same thing that we're doing today. We are uniting folks. You know, the worst thing that we can do is in this time is to be black and be divided. That's the worst thing that is, if it's a time for the black people to come together, is now. There's no over. This is now. We don't need to wait for another crazy thing happening. No, we don't need none of that. We need to come together now. Yes, but you know that's it. You know we have to come together. You know we say man said unity is strength. All black must be one to fight injustice and go forward. That's what we have to do. You know. That's what we have to do, because if we don't do that, the other people, they cannot respect us. We already have the system already been laid out. If you see some Hispanic, they do stuff together. You see the Jewish people, we do stuff together. You see the Asian, we do stuff together. So it doesn't mean like they don't have argument, but they're forcing themselves to do that. So we can demand what we are doing now is great, but now we need to go a step forward to say, you know what? Let's come together. Let's make it happen. Let's do it. And then when we're going to do that, more stuff is going to happen for us. And we're going to be able to have more results. Because like everything is about having a community. If you can have a supermarket, if you can have a bank, if you can have a school, and if you can have a community and have that in different countries in the world. That's when you go to China, there's a black neighborhood over there. When you go to France, there's a black neighborhood. When you go to Germany, when you go to Japan. So when you go somewhere, you don't have to be alone, to fight alone to look for a job, to fight alone to get a loan for your business, to fight alone to find a good school for your kids. You have a community, and you know, it's great. You have a question? Hey, Joanna, we got a question to ask. Go ahead then. Somebody got a question, because I don't want to talk for, I got so much to say, but I don't want to just drive the conversation. I want to lead the conversation with getting some questions and some ideas so we can discuss. I'm going to do more videos with my spouse when she will be available. But that's why it's so important. Because if we are not doing it together as people, we're not going to be able to make it happen. We are not. Okay? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to stop right now for today. And just feel free to send me an inbox if you watch that video on replay. Now we're live in different places. I'm live on YouTube, Periscope, Twitter, on my two personal Facebook page, my professional and personal. So feel free to listen to what I'm saying and say that, you know what can we do together to bring the conversation and talk about your experience and how we can make it better. That's why it's so important. Okay? What do women, good question here. Then they said, like, I cannot let you in. Let you in where? Hold on here. Good question. Hey, I have one question here. Hold on here. Okay, let me answer that question here. Why do women hate each other from Africa and America? This is the number one question. That's so powerful. Because first of all, there's this unsaid things that there's unfortunately a lot of African men, when they come to the United States, marry they marry an American woman. So first of all, it's just like the same thing that all black women are very protective about their men. So like, okay, why you don't marry us? So most of the time, not all the time, most of the time is for different reason, and so they kind of feel a certain way about that. And the the conversation, there's not enough dialogue between African women and African American women. Most of the time, it's the men who have no problem. We have no problem talking to our brothers most of the time, but with women, it's very hard, and we have to really, we need to discuss and go in deeper conversation. I have a lady who's from Africa. We live in Dallas, Texas. We will have a panel on Zoom, and we will discuss what's going on and how we can bring the bridge and talk about the different details. But that question is a loaded question. Actually, is that situation right there, I believe, is one of the number one reason for the divide between African American and African and people from Ireland. But I don't want to just respond for the woman. I want the woman to tell me what they think, and then of course have African American ladies to dialogue about why they feel and what's going on and where they miss each other. But that's great, Renata. This is $1 billion question. That's great. So, Danita, is a structural setup from slavery that we encourage to adopt? Yes. That there's always another black person who's better than you, and that's false. That's false. We are different. We complement each other. Somebody always has something that you need. Somebody got something that you need. You're not better. You're different, or you're more versed in one area. That doesn't mean that you're better than the person. You're just more versed. Great. I love those questions. More questions, please, even from YouTube. Whenever I said that they look at us like the other race do. I really want to learn more of my culture. I want to love my sister of color. Thank you, Renata. You know, a lot of them think that the Americans don't want to learn about the African culture because they never really have a conversation. And that's what I've been saying. I said, no, when I talk to my friends, we got open conversation. I'm learning so much about the United States, and I exchange what I know, and we're growing, and we have talks. So most definitely, we really going to do that, and I'm going to let you know when we will have that conversation and invite over ladies and stuff like that to really make it happen. But yes, Juanita, we have to talk about it. We have to talk about it. I want to use their service, but it's hard when you don't respect me. Yes, 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 and yes. That's exactly what I was talking about in the French world, but I didn't have an American to come. But we will really make it happen. We really make it happen because like I have a lot of people I know from the African continent who are here and don't really have business, and I let them know like you don't have business because you don't know how to effectively communicate with people who look like you in the United States. And I've been telling folks, I said my number one clientele in the United States are African American. Number one, my number one supporter. And I'm so thankful for that because, we have effective communication. Because I believe that everything, there's identity problem, there's a slavery problem, post-slavery problem, but there's also a communication problem. You have to have some type of vibe when you meet that person that, sometimes you don't need to talk. But the way you look at someone, you know, even if you don't speak the language, the way the person looking at you, it's like you bother them, like when you look at and it's both ways, It's both ways, Renata. There's some people, some African people I know from right here in Atlanta who say the same thing, like they don't feel respect. So this is why it's so important, and I know that I have the ability. to really, bridge a gap. Because I mean, that's what I've been doing beyond the scene anyway, since I've been in the United States. But now I'm really open myself up. Danida and I, we open ourselves up to be more open about that conversation and make it happen. It's very, very, very important. Very important. Okay, this is really I'm talking about Bricia. Bricia, can you, if somebody got Skype, I believe I can bring them in on video. But this is Bricia here. Bricia, can you answer the question, please, in the comment? I have a sister from Atlanta who said that she feel like African ladies don't really value, the sister from the state. And that's why I'm not a woman. So I heard some stuff, but I want to hear from you. I know you've been living here for more than 10 years, and you live in Texas. So can you share your insight, even on comment, please, Bricia? Can you share your experience to what is that? Why there is that divide with African lady and African American? What is the beef? What you heard? What you felt? What is the lack of connection? What's going on, Bricia? If you can say something, please, it would be great. Hey, Laurel, how are you? So I have another question. For other races to love black should show more love to each other. Yes, it's like now we know what we should do. The question is like why we are not doing it though. We know what we're supposed to do, but why we are not doing it? The problem is not that people know what we're supposed to do. They know. The question is like why we are not doing it. It's like why we are not doing it. We know what we're supposed to do, and some people are kind of tired of what we're supposed to do. What about us doing it? What is the hold up? So that's why it's so important. How are we going to make it happen, though? How are we going to make it happen? Okay, I believe somebody put a comment. Okay, Danida's saying that we cannot live with what we don't understand. We tolerate. Yes. So we have to have some conversation. It's getting ready to change because we need each other. We only change our own communities. That's it. It's about to change. Now, the good thing about the stuff, remember now, that live is not to point what's wrong. We already know what's wrong. Is that what can we do to make it right? Now, I don't want to ignore what's wrong. I want to address it with respect, please. Because like we cannot just ignore, because there's really a problem. We cannot jump from a from a problem to a solution without addressing the problem and where it's coming from. So we will address it. And like I said, that's my first one, but I will do at least 10 videos. I don't care if I have to, with time difference, if I have to bring some people from South Africa, whatever I have to do, I will make it happen. There's somebody already from New York who's already lined up that I will do a pre-recorded show and play it live because of the time, because I cannot wait every weekend, but we have to make it happen. Okay? We have to make it happen. So it's so important. And me, I'm already a recipient of that because I make business in both. I'm blessed because like I make business in both worlds. I have a lot of African people who support my services, and I have a lot of even Asian people. But let's focus on black. But I have a lot of African people who support my business, and a lot of black American who support my business. So it's possible. I'm supported by the diaspora for real. in so many countries, from Ireland, from the island, from almost every country in Africa, and people in every state. So it's so important. Abricia, I want your insight, please. I want your insight. I know that you have it. Somebody asked why African women sometimes don't like African American. Where the beef coming from? And Bricia, please, and I will even bring you live to do a live with you, but I know like now I couldn't bring you in. But what, you know, tell me something, because I know we already have that type of conversation, but I really want to have your insight because you've been here for 10 plus years, so I know you have something to say about that. Cohen said, indeed, we need to make a real change in our community by building trust between each other. I mean, you know, everybody been watching me in the French world, you know that's what I'm doing. I use the services of my former students. I mean, we make business deals together internationally all the time. We already know about the community. Our money circulates with my network. But now I want to extend it, you know, because I was doing business, but I never really, because that's why, you know, for a long time I was doing live in French, you know, French people, you want to let me go. But now I'm going back, you know, I'm going back to it and make it happen. Hey, Bricia, you know, so it's very, very, very important. Very, very important. Thank you so much, you know, Augustin, because like we have to do that. We have to bring, because like it's so easy to say, oh, Black American don't like us, oh, African don't like us, or people from the island don't like us, people from Haiti, from Trinidad Tobago, people from no. I mean, I have a great conversation with one of my friends from Jamaica. They love Africa. They say like, you know, we African, you know. So even if you don't feel African, you know, and that's what you think, but we can really make it happen. So Bricia, look at that. That's the same sister who asked him the question. I know her personally too. So she's coming from a good place, okay? I know her, but I want Bricia because I know her and she's one of my students. But African women understand stuff we don't, vice versa, with American women. I'm willing to learn. I'm ready to humble myself so we can learn from each other. We can increase each other. We can become what we were. We need circulation or 3x before leaving our community. Yes. Steph, and you know, this is one of my clients in the United States who bought a lot of my product, a lot of Danida product. Well, like I'm telling you guys, like Bricia, she's from Africa. She buy a lot of my courses, a lot of my mastermind. She came to a lot of my activation tour. That's what I'm saying. I want to use, I've been blessed. I cannot talk bad about the African community not supporting me because they are from every country, including mine. I cannot talk bad about the African American community because they're supporting me from every state. For years, actually, they are my first clients since I started doing business in America since 2002. They've always been supporting me. So I cannot say that as an African, oh no, they don't support me. No, they are my number one client. And the same thing in Africa now. The African, we live in Europe, we live in the United States, we live in every part of Africa. They support me, they support Real Media. The people from the island, from Jamaica, from Haiti, from Trinidad Tobago, from Antigua, from Barbados, they all support my business. I'm really international, and I'm talking with all of them. You know? I'm talking with all of them. So I really want to bring you know, everybody in. Conchara, that's one of the guests you know, I will bring, and we will just talk about it before the live. An open mind in Christ build bridge to wholeness and effective communication for all. And there's some African and some African American who think that Christ, they see the Bible as something bad because like people use the Bible during slavery, but they use in a lot of stuff too. But when you read the Bible, you know Jesus is the one who come to unite everybody. Jesus is about, you know, including everybody. It was not about exclusion. Jesus was never about, you know, exclude people. Jesus, this is why we talk about the law. The law was like, okay, that's the blessing is for the Jewish people. No. Jesus said like, no, if you come through me, the blessing is available to everybody. The spiritual laws are open to everybody. The spiritual laws of prosperity. The spiritual laws for having an authentic relationship. The spiritual laws, to build a community together. All that we can make it happen, but we have to see beyond the color and said, first of all, we are human beings. Yes, we're black, but we love each other. Can we vibe? Do we have the same energy? And when we realize that, we can do stuff together and we'll be invincible. I'm telling you guys, we'll be invincible. Nobody can stop us. This argument has been in my mind this whole week. And I know Bricia. So Bricia, you're the only African lady who speaks English on the live. And I know you've been living for 10 years. Even if you have to write a long post, I will put it on the screen. Can you give me your view of what's going on? What is the real divide between African American women and African? Yes, no school, no jump. I mean, that's it. That's, in my neighborhood, that's what we used to talk about. So Bricia, take your time. I believe I have on the phone. I believe I can bring the noise. I mean, let me see if I can bring on an audio source. I don't know if I can bring the phone. I should be able to bring. Hold on. Source. Yeah. So, technology. I don't have a cable, but I should be able to bring somebody on the phone. But that's fine. Let's ask the question. Okay. So Bricia said there is a huge sense of superiority and authority mindset. Our people needs deep healing inside. Okay. So, but like we said, we're gonna schedule a Zoom, and where I will be able to really talk with Bricia and go really deeper than that to make it happen. Hello, Kits No Nuo. How are you? Okay, so that's just the first conversation. We're gonna have more conversation like that, but we really want to make it happen. Because unfortunately, there's a lot of opinion now on social media for people who never lived in the United States. So if you never lived in the United States, it's gonna be hard for you to have a certain opinion about what's going on, and you have to learn about what's going on here in the state. It's so different. Okay. So another comment. For us to start the unity process, we need to go back to the source, stop the slavery selling argument, and work together. So, okay, so that's that's really what's going on. So Bricia just answered. That's good. And Renata says something else too. Exactly, Conchata is a division at its core, and God is bringing his people out. That's why the hardness of heart from certain people, things are changing. I don't have all the answer, but I want to help to bring about change. Yes, we will walk. Renata, we will walk. We will walk. And Bricia will say, united we are stronger and we can build the kingdom. And the devil knows that. Exactly. Because, remember, don't get it twisted. The source of slavery, the source of slavery, the source of something, the enemy, is not the person who don't look like us. The enemy is invisible. So we have to attack it to the spiritual source first. When we attack it to the spiritual source first, then eventually we can go to another level. we can go to another level. So we have to go spiritual, but then we have to go also the natural and the practical things to understand. Okay? That's why it's so important. That's why it's so important, guys. All right? Okay, so I will stop for today. It's just the first conversation, and we will schedule something with people who want to really have a conversation about that. We will schedule it according to all our schedule to make sure that we go really deeper in that conversation so we can, bring us together. Very important. Somebody said that from YouTube, we black need to be delivered from the spirit beyond slavery and racism. Yes, and the racism between us too. And the ignorance, we might think that somebody don't care about us. Because what I was looking at online, they think that when there's a civil war or crazy stuff happening in Africa, some African think like African American don't really care about what's going on or not concerned. But when something happens in the United States, they concerned, but they said, okay, but are you concerned about what's happening in Africa too, about civil war, or when people die, or when the kids die, or somebody been executed, all this kind of stuff? How can we bring that and let them know, like, no, it's just it's not that people don't care. We don't have an opportunity to really see what's going on. Because I've been living in the United States, what people need to understand that the news is not like the news we have overseas. Everybody who travel overseas, the news overseas is always very details. Here there's only two outlets. There's Fox and CNN. And most of the time they don't really spend a lot of time talking about what's going on internationally. So unless somebody is married to somebody from overseas or they're close to the international community, but like the black people as a whole in the United States don't really know what's going on in Africa because it's not making the news. Like it's making the news in Europe in BBC or France 24 or Al Jazeera, network. Their international network will let stuff happen and you can see, but in America, unfortunately, unless you go to BBC, you will not know what's going on. Okay, that's very important. We need to let go for our children. To build a legacy will happen only until we recognize that we all made mistakes, and let's have a real discussion. Yes, we will make it happen. We Conchata Corinne said that we need to be proud of who we are first. Okay. Teresa, an American have been told that Africans sold them, which is kind of true, but their ancestors didn't know how their people will be treated. That's so powerful, Teresa. Because like a lot of things between oh, you didn't want us, and that's why you sold us. And I have a personal testimony from my grandmother who's still alive. She's close to 90 years old. And she said that in some part, when they at first they start selling folks, and when selling is not really the term. Right now there's some African country, and I've been somebody from those countries going to explain to you. I don't want to say the name yet, but until now there's some countries where kids go into another country to work for somebody else, and the money is brought to the parents through some type of agency. It's still happening today. So that's what most of Africans they are thinking about doing. Oh, we're going to send our kids, but they're going to come back. They never came back. And when they realized they were not coming back, they stopped it. And then they did another business when they came at night now, said, okay, we cool, we're going to sell you all the stuff. But at night, they went and snatched the people. They snatched it at night and dragged them to the boat. So the 400 years was not a happy setting. I don't know how long it was before they realized that, okay, the people who went to America never came back. What's going on here? No more selling. And it was a fight in between this kind of situation. But we need to talk about it. And that I got it from my grandmother, So we really, really, really need to talk about that. Yeah. It's all about renewing our mind. This is a new generation that needs to move beyond race color and have a mindful discussion and listen to both sides. Yes, 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 we need that. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's still going on. This is the one point we need to discuss, Teresa, because our parents told us what they experienced during this time. Exactly. We had our grandparents, the one, who have grandparents who are still alive, who tell us a total different story for what was written. And the slavery didn't happen the same way in all the countries. In the West, it happened a certain way. In Central Africa, it happened another way. In East Africa, it happened another way. So that's why you see it's different. West Africa, Central Africa, slavery was treated, differently. And after slavery, we have, some other area, was happening, some other stuff. So it's very, very important. Let's just be human. That's it. And that's why we're coming, we're coming in that, let's just be human. But yes, Renata, Bricia, Teresa, we will have that again. Okay. We had slave system, but we didn't mistreat our slave like in the Bible. Exactly. And thus we have to talk about it. What we call home servant. We don't call slave. And we have to talk about it because a lot of African Americans don't experience that. In our house, we have somebody who's doing the bed, somebody, and that person become kind of a family. Of course, in some family they mistreat it, but most of the time they become like part of family because they're over there. Some of them, when the house is big, they sleep in your house. So you have somebody helping you with the kids, cooking, cleaning the house. We live in a house and we help you with everything. And sometimes was not too far in age with the kids, and we grew up together. We keep those people for 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years. Sometimes they become part of the family. Eventually, we meet their family, we meet their kids, we meet their husband, and we do that. Sometimes we're going to another African country who's more prosperous than the country that they live in, and they go walk there. And but they walk, but we have a mutual respect. But they walk in there. So when the European, when they saw that, they said, you know what? Because they already have a system, let them say that the same way you have people walking in your home, they're gonna walk in our home, but we get on a boat but they are lying that they will be working for free. And we never really have that conversation. I mean, I never seen that conversation in a big scale. So we can start something, we can start the healing, and somebody else can come and add on it, and that will be so powerful. Okay? Thank you, Teresa. Yeah, that's why there's so much hate for Haiti because they fought back and won. Exactly. Same thing for Jamaica. If you think about it, those two islands are the people from that island have a very different mindset from Haiti and yes. Our learning with horror that a family member was a slave seller and was hypnotizing slaves with witchcraft. Take them in the forest where buyers were waiting. They sold them. This happened in Cameroon. Yes, because like they couldn't know who was going to the bushes, uh, to hunt. So they need to have an insight that somebody will come and a group of young guys will come, and that's how they have an intel that people were, snatching folks. Yes, we talk about a real thing now. The lie, okay now. They send the Ebola and we still are alive. Look at God. Yes, you know what I'm saying? Is that we have to really talk about everything that's happening. I love those comments. Powerful. This is a distraction, and we need to take time to stay focused on the real issue. It needs to start from us. Black. Yes. Yes. Powerful, powerful. Okay, guys, what we're going to do, it was just an introduction. I just want to put the topic out so I didn't talk too much, but we will structure it. We will structure it and really make it happen and have a real discussion on Zoom, and we can really go back and forth. But before we leave, the number one thing is that start buying services from somebody who look like you. Start buying services for somebody who look like you. A black person, if you can, if you have a choice, if you go to a restaurant and they have the same type of food, choose the person who look like you. It will really, really start helping us as people, and we can really go to a whole nother level if we start doing this. I'm telling you guys, it's possible. It is possible. Corinne said that our children need to get prepared, teaching them black story, good value, and what the world is. Exactly. This is why we publish books. This is why I'm doing videos. We do whatever we have to do to make sure that we are together. Thank you, Conchata. And this is very important to have a discussion. Because now, it's not time to divide. It's not time to divide each other. It's not time for division. It's time for us to unite. We have to unite. The t-shirt I'm wearing it was made by one of my students from Paris. And what you see, he put the stuff in English. I don't know if you can see, it's like Step with Jesus. And that is the blueprint of dominate with Christ. Somebody from Cameroon who lives in Paris now is a bishop, and I said when I went to my conference a few years ago in Paris, I bought his shirt in front of everybody. I let him sell his shirt to my conference, and I didn't get not one dime because I want to encourage that. Let's start spending money together. Let's start investing to each other, and when we start doing these kind of things, we're going to go so far away. And it's going to be so great for our community as a whole to really make it happen. Yes. Yeah, unite as one. Yes. Oh, you're a student of Coach William. Good. Okay. So you see, I don't even know that person. We say I'm a student of Coach William. Coach William is somebody I trained years ago, who was one of my best students. And they are students, so we have the same thing. When I went to Cameroon, we went to Douala with my spouse, Danita was with me when we did activation tour in Cameroon. We bought some traditional clothing from IAM, not too far from when we have a conference. Because we're in Cameroon, we want to support local business. In every country I'm going to, I always shop the day before to an entrepreneur, and I always propose an entrepreneur to come to the conference and sell his stuff for free. I always do that in every nation I'm going to. I always go invest, and I want somebody locally to come in front of the people and say, okay, what do you have to sell? And I give them 10, 15 minutes so they can sell their product and services to my audience, because I'm going back to the United States. I want to leave something. We did that to every country. Every time I went to Paris, I always push an entrepreneur from Paris, to sell something. When I went to Belgium, when I went to London, when I went to Canada, when I went to Martinique, when I went to Ivory Coast, when I went to Gabon, we did the same thing. We bought stuff, and give opportunity from other entrepreneurs to sell in our platform during a conference. Because we don't want to just talk about it, we live in it. So thank you to be a student of Coach William. I know that he coached you right, and and I hope that you guys book was #1 on Amazon now. So I'm telling you, but we have we have. It's like even for my English audience, you guys have no idea that what we are doing in the French world. It's just amazing what we are doing in the French world now. It's just amazing what we are doing and the impact that we have in more than 47, countries. I mean, I'm telling you, we have students. We have a student now who was in a magazine. Was in a magazine. Was on on the front of a magazine, one of the biggest French magazine. With most of the time is only Caucasian. She made it to a magazine to one of my students. He's a chef in Paris. I'm telling you, but we are together. We have a one big great family, and I just want to thank Renata. I want to thank Conchata, who previously through the years bought my product. I'm so proud to say that I'm an African man who live in the United States, and my #1 clientele in the United States are African American, people from the island, people from Jamaica, Antigua, St. Lucia, Trinidad and Tobago. You know what I'm saying? And it just humbled me that if I can have clients on both sides of the world, why not you? If you're African and you're struggling to make business in the United States, we're going to help you to understand certain things. We're going to pull you in a network. If you're African American and you want to reach the French world, we can help you. If you want to reach Africa, we can help you, because that's what we do. We already have people in place. We already have influencers in place. We already have people with students, with clientele willing to work with you with what you have to offer. We can translate your stuff in different languages to bridge the gap. That's what it's about. We are not here to divide. We are here to unite. We are here to talk about, hey, black on black business is possible. That you can you're from Africa, you're from United States, you're from the island. We can work together. It's possible. We done it with Danita. We done it. Sometimes I go somewhere with Danita, people think that she's from Africa. So and in her mind, she will tell you yes. I remember when I met her, she said like, no, I'm African. So it's always important for us to do what we have to do and to be one and to be united and to go to the next level. Okay? There is a story. Kunta Kinte is a family has made exhibit on museum. I think is in Gambia. I'm trying to copy a YouTube link. Okay, good. So we have to make it happen. We have to make it happen. Hey, Jimmy, how are you? Okay, now I have a pastor here, Pastor Carl, who's from Guadeloupe, but I speak in English. But, that's a preacher that I'm going to be working with, who's from Guadeloupe. Guadeloupe is not too far from Venezuela. And they speak French over there. I have people there too. So I'm telling you guys, when I said that this thing is global, I'm not just talking. My audience is really global. And thank you so much for my English audience. You've been so patient with me. I know since I started doing video in French in 2016, I did less and less and less and less video in English. But I promise you from now on, you will see me at 9 and 10 p.m. on my Facebook, and it will be in English. So whenever you will see me doing videos at night time, it will be in English. So I will do more content in English. More content in English. Okay? It will be more. So I'm coming back. Thank you. Be so patient, but I'm coming back and we'll talk about it. Okay, guys? That's it. Okay? So I hope that you enjoy. If you're not subscribed to my YouTube channel, go subscribe to my YouTube channel. I will drop at least one video in English every week. One video in English, one in French every week on my YouTube channel at Darcy Ogandaga. Do what you have to do. That's it now. We changing the world. We are not going, backwards. We are changing the world. Okay? So we are changing the world. So let's make it happen. Let's make it happen. If you want more information about what I do, I can help you with your business when it comes to going globally. If you have a book to publish, a book to translate, you want to create an online course, you want to create your own virtual studio where you can stream all around the world, you want to really have to learn how to monetize your expertise globally. I have online courses in French and English ready to go to help you really unify and impact the globe from your laptop, literally. How do I know? I've been doing it for so long and it's effective. Thank you so much for everybody who show up at this live. We're going to do more live like this one. And thank you for your patience. You will have more English video from me. I promise that, especially at night time, because like during the day, or even during the weekend, you will see in English, but I will do more during the night time and try to make sure that you get my content in English to understand what I'm doing. Okay? Thank you so much. Donc pour plus d'informations, si vous voulez avoir un coaching avec moi, vous allez à darcygombaga.com, vous prenez un rendez-vous, le montant est déjà indiqué, vous payez sur internet et moi je serai bien sûr en position de pouvoir vous aider pour 1 heure et décortiquer votre business et l'amener à un autre niveau. Merci bien, c'est Darcy Gombaga de Fluent Media à darcygombaga.com. Merci, au revoir.